We need to have a serious talk about your upgrade plans, because if you were sitting on your cash, waiting to buy the standard iPhone 18 later this year, I have some bad news. You might be holding onto that wallet for a lot longer than you thought. We just got a massive data dump regarding Apple's roadmap for 2026 and 2027, and it looks like the company is completely changing the game. The tradition of the September event, where we get every single new iPhone all at once, that might be dead. According to the latest reports, Apple is shifting to a split launch strategy. This is something Samsung has been doing for years, and it looks like Tim Cook finally decided to copy their homework. Here is the deal. The heavy hitters like the iPhone 18 Pro, the Pro Max, and that rumored iPhone Fold we keep hearing about, those are still likely coming in late 2026. But the regular, standard iPhone 18, the phone for the people, that is reportedly being pushed back to spring 2027. That means if you have an iPhone 17 right now, you're going to be the current model king for about 18 months. That is a huge gap in the tech world. So, if we have to wait an extra 6 months for this phone, surely it's going to be a massive redesign, right? Surely they are reinventing the wheel? Well, don't hold your breath. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but visually, the iPhone 18 is going to look almost identical to the iPhone 17. We're talking about the same chassis, the same 6.3-inch display size, and the same overall vibe. Now, the good news is that the display will still be promotion. Thank goodness Apple finally standardized high refresh rates. But if you pull this phone out of your pocket at a party in 2027, nobody is going to know you upgraded. But hey, it's what's on the inside that counts, right? And honestly, this is where the wait might actually be worth it. Let's talk silicon. The iPhone 18 is set to debut the regular version of the A20 chip. Now, usually the non-Pro phones get hand-me-down chips from the previous year's Pro models. But this report suggests a fresh A20. It won't be the Pro version with all the extra graphical cores, obviously. It's likely going to be a 6-core CPU setup, 4 for efficiency, 2 for performance. But the big story here isn't the processor speed. It's the memory. We are hearing very loud whispers about 12 gigabytes of RAM coming to the base model iPhone 18. This is huge. For years, Apple gave us 4 gigs, then 6, then finally 8. Jumping to 12 gigs of RAM on a non-Pro phone is a game changer. Why are they doing this? 2 letters, AI. Apple Intelligence needs memory to breathe, and this upgrade ensures your phone won't stutter when you're asking Siri to do literally anything useful. There's also talk of a new chip called the C2. It sounds like a droid from Star Wars, but it's actually Apple's proprietary 5G modem. They have been trying to build their own modems for a decade to stop paying Qualcomm, and the iPhone 18 might be the device where they finally pull it off. Now, let's snap over to the cameras. Because if you are waiting until 2027, you want your photos to look crispy. The dual camera layout on the back is staying put. No triple lens for the regular model yet. However, the sensors themselves are getting a generation next upgrade. We're sticking with 48 megapixels, but the quality of those pixels is getting better. Better low light, better dynamic range, you know the drill. But I have to squash a rumor right now. You know that fancy variable aperture tech everyone is hyped about? The thing that physically moves the lens blades to control light? Yeah, do not expect that on the regular iPhone 18. Apple is gatekeeping that feature strictly for the Pro models. Selfie lovers, you might see a bump to 24 megapixels on the front, but some sources say it might stick at 18. Honestly, at that point, it's more about the software processing than the megapixel count anyway. And speaking of essentials, let's talk battery life. The report says the battery capacity is getting physically larger. The iPhone 17 was already solid, but the 18 is aiming to stretch that endurance even further. Combined with that efficient A20 chip, we could be looking at a true 2-day phone for light users. But, and there's always a but with Apple, the charging situation is likely staying the same. Same MagSafe speeds, and sadly, the USB-C port at the bottom will likely still be capped at USB 2.0 speeds. In 2027, that is honestly criminal for transferring 4K video, but that is how they push you to buy the Pro model. So, the million-dollar question, or rather, the $799 question. Because yes, the price is expected to stay steady at $799 for the 256 gigabytes base model. That is a lot of tech for the price, considering the 12 gigabytes of RAM and the new chip. But here's my take. If this phone really is delayed until spring 2027, Apple is in a weird spot. They're asking you to skip the holiday season and wait for a phone that looks like the old one, just to get a spec bump. If your current phone is holding together with duct tape and hope, waiting that long might be impossible. But if you want a phone that is future-proofed for AI for the next 5 years, this might be the smart sleeper pick. I want to hear from you guys, though. Does a split launch annoy you? Does it make you want to switch to Samsung, or are you happy to wait for the iPhone 18? Drop a comment down below. I read as many as I can. If you enjoyed this update, smash that like button so YouTube knows we exist, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next leak. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.